Ivan Moroke, Group MD of TBWA Hunt Lascaris. Welcome to the Redzone.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Ivan, TBWA South Africa is part of one of the biggest global networks. How do you feel that this benefits your local agency and its clients?
Well, it's simple, really. Everybody talks about the proverbial global village, which is quite true. And as you can imagine, being part of that, getting access to global intelligence, having a backup of a network like TBWA, new business, sharing creativity, and at the same time on clients as well. Clients have got, as much as they might be local, if you have local clients as well, they've got to be thinking global as well. Whether they actually do expand or not, but you have to have those global thinking. There's no way with the country being so open that you can be only locally minded.
Now, your philosophy is about disruption and challenging convention.
Yes.
Can you tell me a bit more about this?
Well, if you think about it, I think anything that captures everybody's imagination about any brand has to be disruptive. And not only out of communication, though, we focus primarily on communication, but even other brands out there that are making a difference, that are known, they are doing something always that disrupts the market. What it is basically is, in every industry, there are conventions, whether it's written rules or unwritten rules that govern brands or a particular category. For you to stand out, you've got to disrupt that market. Now, that's important to say disruption, not destruction. So you don't just do it for the sake of disrupting it. It's to be able just to get that attention and getting the talkability, which is what brands should be gunning for anyway.
So an agency's main aim, as it were, is to have both a creative and strategic aspect within any communication.
Yes.
But in your opinion, what drives the process, the strategy or the creative?
The strategy is an input, and it's a very important input. And I always say, people, consumers, customers, people out there, they engage with the brand from a creative perspective. They engage with ideas. They do not engage with strategy. But strategy is important in forming that creativity. So you might have the most brilliant strategy ever, but if it's not articulated in an idea that inspires or makes consumers think, it will be to no use at all. So both of them, they are two sides of the same coin. To be having an impact out there has to be something that is absolutely creative, but it has to be the relevant creativity, which is where the strategy comes in.
Now, going back to working both strategy and creativity together, you offer, or your agency offers, an integrated service. What are your thoughts in branching out and using boutique agencies, PR, specializing agencies in that, or should you keep everything in-house?
Well, we are fortunate as TBWA, as the bigger group, because TBWA Hunt Lascaris, which is the advertising component of it, which is what I'm heading, it is just one part of a bigger group of companies in there who are, like you might say, boutique agencies in their own rights, because they are best of breeds. We've got a bespoke design house in Grid, in PR, Magna Carta, and we've got brand and research consulting in Yellowwoods and the advertising components, and then we have Integer for shopper marketing. So actually we're having a cake and eating it, because depending on the client requirement, you can have that boutique element, or sometimes, depending, as I said, on the brief, you can use all the different into one. But what we try to do, and which is quite important, because normally clients feel they've got to choose between the efficiency of going to one-stop shop versus the speciality of dealing with different specialists. But what we do is, though they are specialists, we've got a brand guardian model where it makes sure that the clients get the benefit of specialist agencies, but they get the efficiency of dealing with one agency by having one throat to choke, as we call it.
Now, what are your predictions for this industry in 2013 going forward?
It's going to continue being as mad as it's always been, with rapid change thanks to technology. And I think there's going to be lines blurring. And you are seeing it already. Branding agency offering advertising offering digital agency offering traditional. So it's going to be, the lines are going to be blurred. It's going to come with its own challenges, but I think there are huge opportunities as well, because in all that complexity that comes, there's always a opportunity to be made about simplifying things for clients and for brands, and most particularly for consumers.
Now, you did some good work for the Zimbabwean newspaper.
Yes.
Are there any plans to forge north into the rest of the continent?
We are actually, we have quite a good footprint. I mean, on the continent, and I think I always say a footprint is as good as the work that comes out of it. As agencies, we always do the proverbial dots on the map when we show our credentials. But I always say to clients, the way you must gauge whether that network actually works is to come with a case study. Let people show you a campaign that is spread across the continent, and we have more than one of those. I mean, one of the biggest ones that we've done is for one of our main clients, Standard Bank, which, as you know, is got quite a pan-African focus, and for them to be there, we've been partners, and yeah, we are spreading the brand across the continent. So we've got quite a solid network.
TBWA's key moment in 2012, what was it?
2012, I think it was after when you mentioned the Zimbabwean with the $1 trillion campaign, when the person who was so instrumental in terms of the creativity of TBWA, Damon Stapleton, when he left, and the industry was looking at the agency, say we wonder what's going to happen with Damon after being there for about 12 years. And for me, it was exceptional to be able to have convinced two guys that I've worked with who are joint executive creative directors, Aram and Matthew, who I worked with in my previous life at Lowe, and they were in BBDO New York, and we were able to convince them to come and be our joint ECD. And within a year, I mean, the work is speaking for itself. We are winning awards, most importantly on our paying clients in a big way, which with the kind of work that consumers are seeing out there, which for me is always be the holy grail of great advertising.
Ivan Moroke, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's been a pleasure.